in there.
All right, so Ricky, give me your 3-unit pick.
Right.
For what's the week 1 bet you're already making?
I'm kind of. I guess we'll go back to one of the games we were talking about last week. I'm looking at that Friday night primetime game.
Oh, sure.
Packers Eagles, Friday night, different continent, playing in Brazil. I think you're gonna see two teams with improved defenses this year. So I'm looking at the total 47.5 right now. I'm leaning under in that.
The other thing too with that is you don't know what the turf's going to be like.
That's the thing. There's way too much variance involved.
It kind of has the feeling of like when college basketball teams they go play in like stadiums and it's just cavernous. And it takes a while to get used to the shooting lines.
We've seen it with like the games in Mexico City and like how the elements can factor into that. So like I don't know. It's just a whole different beast. And like I said, I think you're gonna have two better defenses this year. And also, like, as much as we sit here and we talk about how much we love Jordan Love, I could see, him coming out and having a slower start to the year. Also, like, the Eagles' offense, what's their identity at this point? So that just seemed like a high total to me, 47.5. So I'd like to get in on the under while I can.
I like that. One thing I looked at was I probably should have done a little research into this, but it does feel like it takes teams with new offensive coordinators a while to get going. So I looked at all the teams with new offensive coordinators and was trying to find a few that have both teams have new offensive coordinators. I found 3 of them, I think it was. I could pull that up for you if I can find my notes. Chargers, Raiders, Saints, Panthers. But the one I'm looking at is Bucks, Commanders. I'm taking the under 41.5, a low number as it is, but I think we go even under that. You've got, like I said, two new OCs squaring off. Washington, they made a play in the offseason to hire a defensive-minded head coach. Their defense was not great last year. They traded away their 2 best defensive players at the trade deadline. They did not do a ton to reload necessarily, but maybe just it feels like you want to make a good first impression on the new boss as soon as you get a chance. So I think the defense will look a little bit better. There's question marks about both offenses. Baker Mayfield, I'm not totally sold, especially now that there's, what's his face, Canales has gone to Carolina. I look at their depth chart; it's not overly inspiring. Neither side is. And one thing that really, I was like, I'm looking at these 3 games and I'm trying to figure out which one I want to choose of this trend that I might have made up all on my own, that is unproven. And I pulled up. I was just blindly googling best NFL defenses 2024, and I came across an offering from Dakota Randall at Pro Football Network ranking all 32 defenses, and he ranked Washington as a 32nd ranked defense. And he is a moron, so I'm just going to fade him.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And so
it's a tried and true approach.
I think Washington might be.
If we had done that all the years we worked with them, we'd probably be on the greener pastures.
This could be one of the greatest defenses of all time, based on just Dakota's dumbass opinion. So I like the Commanders to come out here with an inspired effort. I don't see much from either one of these offenses, so I'm going way under the
I think you might get home just based on Tampa Bay's defense being good.
That's the other thing, too.
I think if there's a strength of that team, we'll probably get into them at some point in some of these other talking points, but the one thing about the Buccaneers is that they have some continuity on that defense. So if there is, I'm with you. I'm not really sold on their offense, but
I thought you were going to say you're not sold on Dakota.
Well, I mean, I think that goes without saying.
That's fair.
But yeah, so I think I'm with you on that.
Cool. I like your pick too.
Oh, thank you. It's exchanging. It's the weather. It's the weather.
Exciting stuff. Both of us on unders to start the season. So.
Any other games like you look at though and you're standing out? I need to pull up the week.
No, not really.
No, like the primetime games are really good.
Yeah,
like it could be a very entertaining first week.
One thing, so we'll get into this. I guess I don't know if you want to get into it right now, but kind of looking at, there's a lot of low key big games, or maybe I guess low key big is maybe a bit of an oxymoron. But like
definitely, probably.
Yeah, the more I look at this, I don't want to run through the entire slate, but you're like. The primetime games, which we mentioned, obviously, but even a game like Jacksonville, Miami, you can make a case for both of those teams to make deep runs this year. Houston and Indy is a big divisional game. What else was there? Dallas, Cleveland, the Brady game. That's a huge game. Rams, Lions. That's a primetime one too, obviously, but like that's another. So there are some. You can squint hard enough and see legitimate playoff matchups. So I'm probably looking forward to. I'm gonna be settled in nicely Saturday or Sunday night for that Rams-Lions game on Sunday Night Football. I'm really looking forward to that one. I know we kind of already knew about that, but I just like that playoff rematch. That playoff game was awesome. This is going to be one of those ones where it's, you want to talk about Eastern Conference final weather. We're going to have NFL Week 1 weather where it's going to be 85 degrees. Maybe I'll spend some time floating in the pool during the day, but the sun goes down, it gets cool. Now you're starting to feel it.
You a noodle guy? You got
No, I hate noodles. They're the most useless things in the
they
world.
Really are.
All they're good for is like slapping people and slapping the water.
Yep.
So then like you just watch the day of football, and then you got that game on Sunday. I mean, I'm stoked. So that's the game I have circled.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the one thing with the schedule release, like now we know who everybody's playing so far in advance. It's not like it's not this big reveal. Like like the order of games and some of that is, but
it's mostly just making your own schedule. You're like, well,
kind of
clear my 4:30 window.
So
for that.
we've already kind of gone into a lot of the futures bets, like Super Bowls, conference championships, and things like that. But like the one market that is sort of interesting, I guess, to look at post schedule release is that last remaining undefeated team or last remaining winless team.
That's why I brought up that Rams-Lions game, because I was looking at one of those teams for this market, and I was like, there's like 5 games that could legitimately knock you out of that if you have one of those bets.
Yeah. But
there's no layups.
But it's like in a lot of cases, you're looking at it and you're like, if I can get home in that game, and then there's a 5 or 6 game stretch with this team where maybe they are the last remaining undefeated team. So that was just one that I had pulled up. I'm not sure if you looked at that at all. If you got any thoughts on it.
I did. So I went.
What was the team you were looking at?
I went value based, because I don't like. I think the Chiefs are the favorite. I think they're like plus 475 or something like that. They start slow. I just feel like that's not something I want to wrap up my money in. And I don't know. They could get knocked off week 1. The one team I could look at and say there's value here and they could do it. Houston, 15-1. They are favored in their first 6 games before going to Green Bay, a game that they could also definitely win. They have all feel like a talk of the town team, so there's like a narrative there too where it's like, I could see us looking up at, what would it be, like Halloween, and be like, the Texans are here. They are. They're here, and let's go. So they're also, I think they have not something to prove necessarily, but they're ready to take that next step. So they're not going to dial it back early in the season. I don't think they're a younger roster, I believe. So at 15-1, that feels like they have a chance. Their first 6 games are at Indy, home versus Chicago, at Minnesota, home Jacks, home Buffalo, a game that they're favored in, and then they come to New England before that Green Bay game. So I could see 6-0, 7-0 there. Maybe. For 15-1 at least.
15-1, yeah. So just add a little context. So San Fran is the favorite to be the last remaining undefeated team. It's 7-1.
There's no guarantee they beat the Jets week 1. So that's one where I was like, I can't.
So you're looking at 49ers 7-1, Chiefs plus 950, Lions 10-1.
It's not even close then.
Bengals 12-1. Dolphins 13-1.
That's the
Eagles
other thing,
13, and then you get into the 15.
Those are all hard cases to make too.
So
Cincinnati, I have no idea what to expect with Joe Burrow coming back.
It is kind of tough because one team I guess that immediately jumped out to me is Miami at 14-1. But I'm not I have questions about Miami for the long haul.
It's in line with the trend though. They start hot and they kind of fall between injury or the weather.
Favored in every game until week 9, which is when they visit Buffalo. They got Jacksonville to open up. Then they go to Buffalo on a Thursday night. So that's sort of like the make or break game if you're backing them. Then they go to Seattle, which I guess a tough trip, but very winnable.
Game,
then they got Monday night at home versus Tennessee, at New England, the early bye, which should favor them.
For something like this. Yeah, right.
At Indy versus Arizona. So those first 8 weeks, all very winnable games. Again, that Buffalo one on Thursday night is kind of the coin flip game, but they're favored in each of them. And at 14-1, like you said, they generally start hot. I do think I think the thing with Miami is you look at those early season games and the whole weather home field advantage
That's
thing.
Fair, yeah.
I guess it's negated to an extent by playing Jacksonville at home in week 1.
Yeah.
They know hot weather.